Hello guys, welcome back to Comic Book Cafe, and today we're going to do a different type of comic book. God Hates Astronauts, issue number 10, an Image book. Writer, of course, is Ryan Browne, and of course the artist is Ryan Browne. This is an interesting pop culture video game comic book. It's the best way to describe it, with a lot of comedy, if you like Mad, and wrapped in all into one big ball. So a lot of video game references early in this issue, like you start off seeing a Genesis, or no, a Saturn and a Game Boy in space, and then you see the president called Neo Geo-D, take a Neo Geo, announcing to the Pixies that on their planet that they've developed a 32X and are now going to have 128-bit power, and they're going to get more power. Again, a lot of pop culture references. This is all video game references we're talking about right now. A lot of people in here are from a lot of different. This book is very interesting if you want just an offbeat comic book, something completely different with crude humor, all wrapped up into one. And all the people are excited. All right, and he's we just gotta find a power source, and everybody's all excited. Yay, we're gonna get this 128-bit power. So then we go to this other planet where these crabs from, was it Craxalon? The planet's something called like that, are being held down by a guy, King Greasy, which is kind of a weird take, obviously, on obviously the Burger King's king, but he's not called that. And he doesn't look exactly like him. He's like a lion or something. And the king leader crab shoots him dead, shoots him to death. Bam. His years of being enslaved, and they're sick of him and his stuff. So the other guy, I guess, the next guy in charge, who's funny because his arm has fallen off and something else has fallen off. He's like, I think he'd die. They have this back and forth. Eventually, they agree to a treaty. A funny way agreeing to a treaty. It's just a funny looking thing, a funny thing. And then we get a little ad. Was it Crowmo or something? A thing in jail, alien in jail with a human guy who has like a arm with like forks and weird stuff on it, and they're arrested. And the guy, the human guy's like, "Hey, my wife's gonna divorce me, and all this bad stuff's gonna happen." And the guy's like, he pulls his food out of his butt, and it's some kind of mint. It's a take on Mellows or something like that. Menthols, I think, is take on Menthols. And they think, I can't believe I'm doing this, and they eat it. And it's a commercial. It's a one-page, almost like an old Mad magazine commercial. We're just the crude nature of it. That's what it's really crude. So we skip back, and we see these superheroes pop out of time. And we see this one guy, we see him, and we see versions of his future self. One's a big, huge head and a small body. Another one's a horse's head, and then him. And the big head loses his foot as he comes through time. This is a very crude and humor-filled book. And so we're talking to kind of a take on Nintendo Bill, a guy. And when they come in, you see like this husband and wife or couple like having an argument with the relationship being over, and one's called Television Tom. The funny little things going on in this book. And then he tells them what's happened with President Neo Geo-D, who took their daughter, Starlinda, which is supposed to be, I think, a take on Rosalina, so Starlina, from Mario Brothers. Again, a lot of video game, a lot of different cultural references in this book. It's really funny. So anyway, so as they're sitting there getting there and they're about to say bye, the horsehead gets upset, says, I hit my hand on the table. Sorry. The horsehead gets upset, and he starts, tell us the truth, I know you're scamming us, and he gets upset. And he takes out the Nintendo guy, and then he takes out Virtual Boy, is the one of them is called, and takes them all out, getting all upset, and just getting mad. It's all funny. So then we go back to President Neo Geo-D, taking Neo Geo, and he looks, by the way, better than everybody else, like stronger than everybody else. I guess kind of taking how more powerful is. And so somebody found a power source. So they're about to hook up the 32X to the power source to give everybody more power. And they hook it all up. And everybody's sitting there going, wait a minute, why is all the power going to Neo Geo-D? Because Neo Geo-D scanned them all. He wanted all the power for himself. He took all the 128 power for himself. Get the Neo Geo reference in his name. And he scanned them all. And the big head version from the future superhero guys is like, yeah, I'm here to keep you occupied while they go get the child back. I can't really lie. I don't like to deceive you, so I'm telling you the truth what's happening to the bad guy. It's just a funny take on it. And the bad guy, well, I appreciate your honesty, but I'm not that easily scammed. But they get the kid and they leave. So he is easily scammed. And they go get their kid and they leave to go back to the time of the lady and the kid. And that big head gets through and he loses his other foot. Again, funny thing. After they, and Neo Geo-D's like, I'm going to take over the universe and I'm going to beat everybody. You know, kind of thing. And then we see, I don't think we get a wrap-up of that, really. I don't remember exactly if we get a wrap-up of that or not. I know next we see the superhero people go to wherever the lady and the baby's from, and the human-looking guy says, oh, this is the future baby I'm going to make, and I can't believe these all are like me, and she's like, you need to go back to your own time. And then some dude named Sullivan shows up, who clearly was a villain to the lady and the baby, and he's like, I'm back with some army, and that's how they end the book. A lot of funny little things go on in this book. It's a very quirky book. It's very different. If you're looking for something very different, this is definitely off the beaten path. This is definitely for people who aren't looking for the average superhero book, who kind of like the mad comedy, who like the off-the-wall stuff where there's cussing and other stuff and pop references in here. This is definitely your kind of book. And so if you like that type of book, oh, that's also funny, by the way. When they go back to their time, the old version of the superheroes, because there's 3 versions of them, he blows on the ES cartridge and then transports them back in time. It's kind of funny. Again, a lot of pop culture references in this book. Oh, also, another thing going on is when the crabs free themselves from that planet, the guy agreed to peace. He calls this guy named Robert, who's a rhinoceros with glasses, who's on Earth for whatever reason. They tell him, hey, you were right about the crabs, and we signed a peace deal. Hey, I want you to lead a special secret task force. And he's like, what for? Because I want to go annihilate the crabs on their home planet. So that's what also happens. Because you meet Dave because he's talking to a prisoner who has a third arm who pickpocketed him, or Dave, the prisoner who had the third arm, who pickpocketed Dave, and they're talking in prison, Robert, and they're talking in prison. It's very weird and quirky. But you never find out what actually happens when Neo Geo-D. That's left open. Again, this book has a bunch of multiple little stories with a lot of comedy, a lot of things going on, a different kind of book. But overall, I enjoyed this book for what it was. It's a different kind of book. If you're looking for something different, this is an Image book, and Image does make different kind of books. They don't just make straight superhero books. This is definitely your, especially if you like the mad kind of comedy book, this is definitely your type of book. The drawing looks kind of maddish. If you like mad, this is maddish like drawing. So if you like that art style, you'll like this book. If you like that kind of comedy, you'll like this book. But it's got a bunch of cultural and pop cultural references with names slightly changed in it. Like what planet were they on? The Super Nintendo 64. So I enjoyed it for what it was because I understand all the references and the mad comedy thing. But again, if you like that kind of stuff, you'll like this book. If you don't like that kind of crude kind of comedy, if you don't like the pop culture references, this is not your type of book. Anyway, if you guys read God Hates Astronauts issue 10, love to hear your guys' opinions, and I'll make another review for you guys soon.